Hello everyone, on today's episode I'm going to share with you guys how to change a fuel pump. So we're going to change the fuel pump in a 2001 Toyota Solara V6. This is also applicable to any other Solaras or Camrys and other similar vehicles. First, what I'm going to do is remove the back seats. The back seats can be removed by pulling them up and also getting rid and pushing down the seat belts. Ew, a nail, that is disgusting. I don't even know whose nail that is. So now that I've showed you the nail, let me remove the carpet that gets in the way. And all you need is a screwdriver so that we can pry up, pop open the lid where the fuel pump is located. Sometimes these are just locked in there by pressure or glued a bit. In this case, this one was glued a bit. So go around and just open it like a paint can, and we need to remove all the screws that are in there. We're also going to have to disconnect the wiring. It might be a little bit tough because old age, but make sure you remove the wiring, put it aside. And now it's time to remove the screws. Here I was struggling a bit and I even ended up rounding up one of the screws. So pretty much I noticed, okay, I could also use 8mm socket to remove these screws. You can use this with normal hand tools, but luckily I have a little impact gun, so I might as well go ahead and use it. It'll be quicker and much easier. And then make sure to remove the shield that covers the fuel line. And now make sure to wear some handy dandy gloves. Remember, gasoline is a carcinogen and we want to protect our skin and our hands as much as possible, so make sure to protect yourself. Now the fuel pump only has two little quick disconnect tabs. Push them in and pull on the fuel line and it should come off. Even though this one has never been removed, it came out pretty easily. And then you just simply pull the fuel pump out. It's going to smell like gasoline. Well, it should. Make sure nothing falls in there. Definitely not fire. Wiggle it a bit slowly and try not to make a mess. And this is why I have paper towels nearby. And now it's time to go ahead and replace the actual fuel pump. So this is the fuel pump. You can see it's really rusty. It's nasty in really bad conditions. It's just ew. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to remove the fuel pump is in this little black tank right here. And we need to remove it from here. First, what I do is remove the 3 tabs located at the bottom. It can actually be truly tedious and annoying, but make sure not to break any of the tabs, because if not, you will have to put everything on pause and buy a new one. I used a screwdriver to help me with the leverage as well, but after a few minutes of struggling, it finally came off and the filter fell out on its own as well. And then we removed the top tabs as well. Again, be careful, because if you break it, you're pretty much not in a good place and you're gonna have to go and get it replaced. Take your time and be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be very careful. And finally, now you can see the fuel pump. We're going to disconnect the wiring at the top to remove the fuel pump. And we're going to remove the part of the filter that is still stuck there. But first, make sure to compare. Here you can see the old one versus the new one. Make sure everything looks the same size. The collectors will probably not be the same, and we're going to have to splice that, but everything else should look the same. See, here's the connector that came with the new one, and we're going to splice that into the old wiring. Okay, so to begin, we're going to cut the wires. Try to cut them one wire at a time, so definitely not what I did here. And we're going to cut the wiring of the new connector as well, and try to keep it close to the length of the original wiring as well. Snip, snip, cut one wire, cut the other. And then we're going to expose some of the wire so that we can put it in a connector and crimp it. Make sure to twist the ends before you put it in the connector. There we go. And crimp it. And remember to match the colors, black to black, red to, well, in this case, our red and the original color was a blue color, but remember, positive to positive and negative to negative. All right, make sure to crimp it and move it around. Make sure that it's fastened and tight. And then we're going to put the new mesh in there with a little lock ring, and make sure to push that lock ring in and make sure it's good, because the last thing we want is for this filter to fall off. So I used a screwdriver just to add a little more pressure and secure it as much as possible. And now we have to assemble everything back together. Fun, fun. And here I put the little rubber grommet that goes in there right next to the filter. And then slide the fuel pump back in its place. Then make sure you use the old rings from the old fuel pump and put them into the new one, and make sure they're in the exact same order that they came off. And then we connect the fuel pump wiring. So in it goes. To make sure to tuck those wires in, make sure that no wires are sticking out of the cylinder. Okay, so I start off by putting the bottom clips, and then I put the top ones as well. Et voila! There you go. Your fuel pump is assembled. After inhaling all the fumes, you've done a well done job. All right, so we go back to the car, put the fuel pump in there. Put it how it was, make sure everything's aligned, and connect the fuel line. Now make sure to put all the screws back where they belong. Okay, so here I'm tightening all the screws, but it wasn't until later that I noticed that I forgot to put back the little shield that covers the fuel line. So yeah, I did a little extra work. Connect the wiring again. And that's when I noticed that I forgot to put the shield over the fuel line. I had to remove a couple screws again, put the shield, and then put the screws back in there again, and done. So after we tighten the screws, make sure you put the lid back on top and try to tap it or put pressure like a paint can so that you can close it and have it sealed the best way possible. Make sure everything is good. It might be a little loose because keep in mind that this one was originally glued in there, but just put pressure, tap it as much as possible. And that's pretty much the hardest part of changing the fuel line. So make sure you put the carpet back and the back seat where it belongs. All right, so there you guys have it. This is how you change a fuel pump for this vehicle as well as other similar vehicles. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to please like this video, comment if this is the kind of content that you actually like. I would like to make some more of these. These are actually pretty fun. It was actually a pretty therapeutic project. So I hope you guys enjoy and stay tuned for the next video.